I don't care if you are my sister. You drop my cargo on a spice run and I'm gonna cut your... Welcome to Mind Canon, the only Star Wars show that uses Smuggler Guild certified outlaws for every criminal activity. I am your host, the Fat Mantis, and today we are reviewing Season 7, Episode 6 of Clone Wars. Deal? No deal. Which is another Ahsoka banger, and I'm really enjoying what they are producing right now. It started out with a lot of humor. We're not talking Jar Jar Binks, but the new sisters were there and they're doing their humor back and forth. We're not sure if Trace is a good pilot and Rafella is just a curmudgeon and clearly shady and going to get everybody killed. It is very blatantly obvious, but it is very funny. And there were a lot of great Ahsoka moments. Particularly, there was one that touched me in a way that Clone Wars hasn't touched me in a long time, probably since Ahsoka left the Jedi Order. And it was when Skywalker was on the bridge of the ship. And for a minute he asked Admiral Yularen about the ship. Yularen informs him that he is about to apprehend them. He immediately starts to sense, and she senses that he senses, and it's this touching moment where he could have captured her, he could have brought her in, he could have brought her in just to see her again, as we all know he yearns to do, but instead he knew that destiny, or should I say the Force, brought her to where she should be, and that it's all good, and he let her pass because of a mutual love and respect for his former Padawan. It was touching, and it was just this small moment. And not only that, it was a wonderful use of Force powers. Now, obviously Force powers don't always work the same way twice, but I did enjoy this, and it is a callback to Return of the Jedi with Luke and his father. The episode goes on and it ends up dealing with a lot of imagery that we've seen, particularly in the Solo film. The Pikes come into the story, and I love them as an alien species and criminals, but it also shows the spice mines of Kessel. And speaking of spice, it actually clarifies a mystery that has provoked Star Wars fans since the start of the franchise. We're talking about New Hope territory. And what this is what is spice and how is it connected to Anakin Skywalker? Or should I say, how is it connected to the lie of Anakin Skywalker? So let me go back into this. In New Hope, Luke Skywalker says, "My father didn't fight in the war. My father was a navigator on a spice freighter." And he seems to say it, which seems to have no problem whatsoever. Eventually, the expanded universe would state that spice was a drug, a criminal enterprise being smuggled across the galaxy. And we all know Luke has farm boy etiquette, aka he's Captain America, aka he's lawful good, very much like Ahsoka. And I think we're all wondering, why would Luke be totally cool and nonchalant of the fact that his father was a drug dealer? This episode, shows out that spice is actually the main ingredient in both medical things and drugs. Spice freighters are constantly attacked by pirates and other outlaws to obtain this wealthy thing. It's very similar to the opioid crisis. And it clarifies that it can both be criminal and dangerous, but also totally legit and dangerous. It allows all canons to exist simultaneously. Well done, boys at the Clone Wars. Now, the episode eventually goes to the Spice Mines of Kessel, where we see the servants there. Now, we all know the Spice Mines of Kessel is some sort of slave labor situation, and the mere fact that there was a Zygarian slaver as the manager of the scene would indicate that, yeah, they are slaves, and this is a no good situation. Now, Ahsoka and her principles, her lawful goodness, her paladin ways, seems to constantly get her in trouble, and she actually got to the point of being annoying, where everything she would add to the story was there to provoke a fight. She couldn't keep to herself. However, that keeps in character, and it caused for a lot of interesting shenanigans. Now, I think we're all bumping our heads as to why Trace would do such an extreme act without checking with them first. There are 10,000 ways to get out of the situation. Why would she dump it? I think it just clarifies that Trace is an idiot and we don't want her to continue in the series. I'm hoping at the end of this arc that she is gone. I loved this episode, and I'm going to give it a 92. Our bonus Star Wars topic for today is Young Yoda and the High Republic series. So, I've been trying to avoid this topic, and it's primarily because it's not really a topic other than a few buzz clips here and there. And what I mean is that no news or information has been given to us. We've been told that they're going to be now writing and publishing all sorts of stories, both in comic books and books, and making video games about an era called the High Republic, which is 200 years before the Republic that fell in prequel trilogy. The problem is, there's essentially no information on stories, villains, anything like that. There's some sort of information about the Nile, who are a bunch of nihilist pirates and space pirates, but there's too little to go in, so there's actually nothing to report. What I want to focus on right now is young Yoda, and I'm not talking about baby Yoda, but I'm talking about young Yoda. If they're doing the story in the Republic 200 years before Star Wars, that means we're gonna get Yoda, who's gonna be about 700 years old. Now, I don't know what the equivalent, Earth equivalent to that is. I assume it's still like 60. Like, Yoda will have probably been through 3 wives. He's like a divorcee. He's got adult kids already who have finished college. They already have careers of their own. And he's still going to be like, he's going to be a little past midlife. And I was actually hoping for a younger Yoda. I was really hoping they would do like 500 years before. So we could see a Yoda who was out and about, young Jedi Knight, making mistakes. He's gruff, he's kind of like a John McClane type of guy, a rugged Yoda out there. He at night drinks to deal with all the horrible things that he's experienced out there in the Jedi world, and then the next morning he just picks up his lightsaber with a hangover and he's gonna go fight crime and save the galaxy. That's the Yoda I was hoping we're gonna see, but we're still getting an older Yoda. He's old. He's still an old man, essentially. He's not gonna be super young, but I do hope they show some adventuring. I'm trying to speculate what they're gonna do with him, but remember, Yoda is going to serve as the anchor to the series. What I mean, like an anchor, it was used with R2-D2 in the prequel trilogies, and to a lesser degree in the sequel trilogies, that he is a character who maintains. So he's the same character in all the trilogies, so that he takes these new casts and he connects them. He's the glue that holds them to the other cast. So that's Yoda for us. We don't know who he's going to be adventuring with. We don't know his position. I assume by 700. He's gonna be on the Jedi Council, and that's the problem. I want to see a Yoda that's totally different. 200 years to a Yoda isn't much, right? We see a 50-year-old Yoda who's friggin' wearing diapers in The Mandalorian, so I can't imagine that the 200 years is gonna be much of a difference, but I would rather have seen one drastically younger Yoda, so we can see him with hair, macking on chicks, doing all sorts of fun things that a hero does. Now, I'm wondering to you guys, what do you want to see Yoda be, and what do you want to see out of this High Republic series? It's called Project Luminous. My understanding is that from these publications, that's what they're going to base a lot of their new movies on. Or that's really speculation. Once again, they have made no promises and they had offered little to no information about it. Maybe there are other Yodas. Maybe he's got a girlfriend. I don't know. Maybe there's a female Yoda, and I'm not talking about the Gremlin. Let's not make the Gremlin joke. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. Anyway, that is our show for today. I want you guys to like, share, and subscribe, and I want you to keep tuning in to Voice of the Fat Mantis for more Star Wars reviews, information, news leaks. Well, I don't have any sources, so there won't be any leaks, but all sorts of other information. I love each and every one of you. May the Force be with you. Have a good one. Ciao for now, bitches.